Hello! I am streaming again! In the evening! And I just caught the game doing it again! How do you work this stupid radio? How do I make it so that it actually plays more than one frickin' track? What does this button do? What does that button do? It doesn't make any sense. I want it to just go from track to track to track to track, but instead, I have to manually tell it to go to the next track. That doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Let's sigh. Anyway. Welcome back, everyone. I don't know how I'm going to edit this as a VOD or whatever, but I just wanted to stream some more Reverse today because I started the stream earlier today with Honkai Star Rail instead of Reverse, so I felt like there was less time for Reverse than what I actually wanted out of the day. So we're going to do more Reverse today. I'm just going to stop at Wilderness really quick here, and then I think I want to just jump right into that event story, because, man, it's really intriguing. But we'll see. It'll be a shorter stream than what I normally do. Normally I stream for at least 3 hours. But this is an evening stream, so I think it'll be closer to 2, if I had to guess. If that's all right with you, I welcome you to sit back and relax and enjoy as I dive into this event story. Alrighty. I think everything is set the way I want. Yes, it is. Captions are going. Audio is happening. Yeah, okay. Goodness gracious. Streaming can be so complicated. Even when it's supposed to be really simple, it ends up being really complicated. Oh boy. And my usual crowd that shows up doesn't normally, I don't normally show up in the evening, so I don't know who's going to be showing up at this point. We're just gonna find out together, I guess. This might be a lot of me streaming to myself, and that's okay. We'll have the VOD. Okay, so this is another one of the mini side stories focusing on Dr. Doris's experience in the prison, which I assume is happening before the current events. Well, let's check it out together. The Weaving of Shadows, Volume 3. Rust fills the air, and an exiled bird has found a branch to rest upon.
Fate. Yes. It looms over us, yet each of us may hold the power to steer its course.
A lot of this is getting voiced sections, but it's just a little bit inconsistent. Just like this nation of contradictions, its fate should also be... Ahem? In that case, shall we officially begin this salon? The ever-observant Roberta, noticing the tears welling in Octavia's eyes, cuts her off. Oh my, she was getting emotional. Would anyone like to share a story on this topic? Whether it's a personal experience or a written tale, let's bring some life to this salon. Well, if no one has anything to say, I could always retell the story of my fateful journey across the Mexican border. A chair screeches as one man stands. All eyes fall on his face, shadowed by his heavy brow and sharp cheekbones. An unexpected twist. No one noticed him quietly sitting at the edge of the crowd until now. I spent the first half of my life as a bank clerk. Oh, this is the bank clerk that Aleph was perhaps thinking of when he suggested that character to Recoleta for her story. One day, sitting behind that glass window, staring at the endless stacks of checks, papers, and flyers, it hit me. I was serving a life sentence. So I quit, went home, and decided to write something. My wife threw a fit at first, but when I wouldn't budge, a cold war broke out between us. And then, finally, she issued a unilateral eviction notice. Whoa, you can do that? I got drunk, punched a bastard officer who was beating a beggar in the street, and everything after that's a blur. When I came to, I was already here. A place that feels more like home than any other place ever did. Yeah, this guy sounds like a nice guy at the end of the day. The idealist gave me some water and suggested I write to Aleph. So I did. I wrote a letter and asked a question. 2 weeks later, I got a reply. Just one line. I'm still trying to figure out what it means. In the short span of life, there exists an infinitely extending staircase. Nope, not the suitcase. There exists an infinitely extending staircase, and at its end lies nothing but a silent body of water. Julio, I had no idea you had such a story. Why haven't you mentioned it before?
I didn't know you've written to Aleph too.
Oh, many people have. And I just remembered... we already have the illustration for Aleph's character. Actually, they did feature it in the trailer, so it's not like a spoiler if I look at it, right? This is a video I was watching before I started the stream here, but, let's go to Aleph. Is he... Okay, so he's not, like, surrounded by letters or anything? Aww. I don't know what's up. Okay. Octavia, maybe you did choose the right topic. Young, passionate writers like you should carry the dream of changing society. Don't end up like me, waiting until this age to finally pick up the pen. Oh? The hostess, fully engrossed in the story, has almost forgotten all about the topic. Great! I suppose it's my turn then. So, here's my tale of crossing the Mexican border. For heaven's sake, spare us. I've heard at least 7 or 8 versions of that story already. Not to mention the 5 short stories in your collection. 5 stories, Roberta. 5! The only difference between them is the narrative perspective. Repetitive narrative is indeed an important topic in literary criticism. The remainder of the salon is spent in noisy chatter as the storytelling quickly spirals out of control. Only Dr. Doris quietly repeats that name to herself.
Aleph.
Timex, hello! Welcome back once again. I am streaming in the evening, which I normally don't do. I'm enjoying this chapter a lot too. It's part of why I decided to stream again. I've taken care of my pet rats. They've got their dinner, and I'm working alongside Duar. Duar has some work to do at home, and I figure I'll get back at the grind as well. Although mine is definitely very chill compared to his. Mr. Julio's past was an unexpected gold nugget. The perfect material for a biography. I'll treat it with care in my next submission. By then, I had nearly forgotten I was still in prison. I had been swept up in the literary salon. I resolved to record all that I witnessed in this prison. As to whether the inhabitants are truly prisoners, that will be for the readers to decide. At the time, I did not ask how they found their way into this prison. Like them, I was thinking of purer things. Looking back on this journey, I now see that the tangled strands of Las Babas del Diablo had formed an interconnected web. What's that about? I think this is the first time that's been mentioned, unless I'm forgetting something. Timex says, I've been going out with an English teacher and I've been catching all kinds of literary references in this because of her. Been perfect timing. Oh! You've got a cheat sheet. Nice. Just as the salon gets into full swing, a face emerges from the shadows. Only the smile clearly visible. Oh no, now I need to try to approximate the idealist's voice. Honestly, when I was listening to him, he reminded me of Forget-Me-Not, so I feel like I'm just gonna try to sound like Forget-Me-Not. I don't know what else to do. It's been like 2 hours since I last played the chapter, so I don't have it fresh in my mind. Okay. Hopefully he has an actual voiced line in this short story to help remind me. Rarely do I observe the salon from afar, taking in all its symbolic quirks and subtle metaphors. The bridge between reality and unreality, the poetry of the typical and the atypical. This is exactly how I envisioned La Sociedad de Poetas de las Americas when I founded it. The new arrival catches her attention. Reality and unreality. Are you referring to the difference between non-fiction and fiction? I'm afraid I haven't quite grasped your full meaning. Ah, but you understood at least part of it, didn't you? That alone proves we're walking the same path. The unwavering pursuit of aesthetic truth. We are citizens of the literary kingdom, stargazers chasing the first light to reach the shores of the new world. Children crying beneath the tree of pure ideals. As its founder, I sincerely invite you to join La Sociedad de Poetas de las Americas and become one of us. Join La Sociedad de Poetas de las Americas? A gentlemanly bow, an invitation that is hard to refuse. Everything here carries an air of mystery. The literary gathering, the strange architecture, the enigmatic recipient of all those letters. A rare opportunity.
I'm truly flattered by your invitation. I'd be delighted to join the Poetry Society. But might I trouble you with one question, Mr. Idealist?
You call yourself the founder. So I assume you are the idealist, yes? Ask away. Could you tell me about Aleph? Uh-huh. And yeah, I literally could not remember what the idealist's accent was there. So I just kind of did a shot in the dark. I couldn't remember. Typewriter record number P5. A woman's documentation of a blind society. It's an interesting phrase. Even though they refuse to discuss the outside world, spending even a few days inside the prison makes clear that the reason they are here is precisely what they avoid speaking about. Ushuaia is a cold town on the tip of Argentina's southernmost territory. The polar night, the frozen sea, the proximity to Antarctica, the endless winter. It all makes the place seem buried by time and forgotten. It possesses all the necessary qualities of a prison, making it an ideal place to send arcanist suspects diagnosed with mental illness. A place to be forgotten. Setting aside the true definition of madness and their status as prisoners, what I see in this prison are former poets, writers, and social activists. In their era, some spoke of poetry, then disappeared from society for owning a book by Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre? Sartre? Sartre, perhaps. Some incited grassroots rebellion against hierarchical structures, only to be exiled. They were repeatedly questioned. Why do you read these books? Why do you write these poems? They were branded thought organizers, and eventually sent here to partake in an experiment conducted under the names of Foucault and psychoanalysis. It is nearly impossible to determine whether their madness was defined by society because they resisted order, or if it was induced through relentless electric shocks and torture. Or perhaps all these reasons are one and the same. This reason is often avoided, sanitized, or ignored. Because deep down, we all know how deeply it is woven into the fabric of all our lives. At first they said nothing. This very act of deliberate avoidance was what truly conveyed their grief and fear. I just suddenly had a flashback. I had a flashback to Reverse 1999's main story, Chapter 3. And Manus Vindictae throwing pamphlets full of revolutionary ideas into the school where young Vertin and her friends were, and them being inspired by those words and wanting to speak up against the systems that were keeping them in place, and the violence that the system enacted on her and her friends as a result of that. And it really feels like this Chapter 9 is a spiritual successor to Chapter 3. They haven't, like, really referenced anything in Chapter 3 outside of simply, the characters in this chapter being branded thought organizers. Yeah. I don't know, I think it's not a coincidence. I love this! This is so good. So, I didn't technically start from part 7, I started from the extra things after part 6. So now we will be starting from part 7. And, yeah, I hope you all are having a good evening, or whatever time it is where you are tuning in. And let's, check this out together. Not sure how long I will be streaming in total. I'm gonna try to hit 2 hours. We'll see how close I get. Alrighty. Part 7. Passion and delirium. Open your eyes to see the night. Close them to see the light. Okay, that part reminds me of Mushishi. Episode 2. The light under the eyelids.
This is a serious violation of the rules. I'll have to report this to the physician, and all of your treatments will need to be reassessed. Until a new treatment plan is in place, all members of La Sociedad are confined to their cells without any of their usual privileges.
The jailer heavily emphasizes La Sociedad, triggering a commotion among the prisoners. Yeah.
This is not what we agreed to.
You gave us your word! Affairs within La Sociedad were not to be disturbed!
Please, don't do this. Please, he doesn't deserve this. No one does. We don't want to lose our friend.
The previously convulsing prisoner struggles to his feet.
Please, Senora. I swear it won't happen again. I'll take the medicine on time as instructed. I promise I won't hurt anyone.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pablo, but rules are rules.
Before you take this poor man from his friends, may I ask you something? Do you know where these inmates go after they see the physician?
My duty is to keep order here. What happens beyond these walls is not my concern.
The question was... after they go to see the physician. So the physician is outside these walls? And also, yes, the idealist does have a British accent. Okay.
Perhaps they've recovered from the physician's treatment and were returned to society.
Goodness gracious. The jailer's expression relaxes.
Within these walls, the only truth we know is this. No one returns from the clinic of the physician of Kamala. Are you certain this treatment they received is really a cure?
Pablo is harmless. He's just a writer who has a talent for finding words in poems. That's all. Please, let him stay. We'll look after him. He can have our share of the medicine. We'll keep him in check.
But this doesn't conform to our regulations.
Still as arrogant as ever, idealist. One day, you'll get us all killed.
A stranger enters the exhibition hall. As she arrives, the jailer exhales with relief. Relief, huh?
Oh, it's you. I'm glad to see you here.
Who is that?
That's Octavia, one of our model inmates. She's been a great help in the past. If you're interested in prison literature, I'd suggest talking to her instead of the idealist.
So, she's a writer too?
Who would have thought? This place has got writers coming out of the woodwork. I thought it would be easy to find my writer friend in a prison. But what are the odds that I'd break into a place absolutely lousy with them?
She used to be in their gatherings, until she got tired of their nonsense and started her own faction.
The new arrival brings out a change in the idealist. He clicks his tongue imperceptibly.
What are you doing here, Octavia? Haven't you heard? The era of chieftains, ghosts, and plantation stories is over. Visceral realism is the future.
Chieftains, ghosts, and plantation stories. I don't see how those three things go together exactly.
And has this brilliant visceral realism helped you finish any of these poems? What a waste of time. I'm not interested in your movement or arguing with you. I just walked by and happened to witness another episode of your brutal arrogance. And I'm not about to just stand aside and watch you repeat your mistakes. I'm taking Pablo to the physician. Care to lend a hand, Miss Jailer?
We agreed to mind our own business. Are you breaking our agreement? No one will be allowed to erase a word from our poems.
Combat time. The Idealist and Octavia. What? Oh. Hysteria is damage taken reduction plus 2%. Damage heal plus 2%. After reaching more than 5 stacks, converts into days for 1 round. Okay, so it's good for 4 stacks. And you get 4 stacks on 1 hit from Oration of Ideals. And then this Freedom of Literature dispels hysteria. Okay, I think I understand.
Nothing unexpected. For now.
I guess I
Haven't you
will
let your ego cause enough trouble, Idealist?
attack the Idealist first.
Better that than siding with the devil like you.
Enough. This pointless arguing ends now.
I'm going to punch you in the face to make it so.
The show's on, hounds.
Let me see.
Great decision. Now dance.
Time waits for no one, even for a great people.
Okay. Hold on. I guess the stuff that I was reading is probably only necessary to pay much attention to in the harder difficulties.
Plan A.
Your command.
Plan B. 3, 2, 1, down.
Ha ha!
Warning, warning. The puppy is fleeing the scene at its maximum speed.
Hello, Pickles. Hello, Chameleon! We just did the fight in part 7 of the story. And yes, I decided to get up and do another stream for the evening and do some parallel work alongside my husband, Duar. I gave some food to the pet rats, and they're all chowing down on that now. Dinner was yummy. I hope everyone is continuing to have an okay day. I'm not sure. Let's see, where in the world? Wait a second. Cavalion, it's gotta be like crazy early morning for you right now. Oh my goodness. 4 a.m. in portions of Europe anyway. It's Pride Month. Wait. Well, yes. According to our previous rules, it's Pride Month. Their heated debate continues without any concern for the jailer's warning. By the way, in case anyone doesn't know, the piece playing in the background here is a famous waltz by Strauss. Is this Blue Danube, or is this something else? Oh, you forgot that there was 31 days in May. Yep, Duar corrected me earlier in the other stream. I know this waltz so well. I played it very many times when I was in the orchestra in high school.
You've never listened. I pity your followers. To be led by such a reckless megalomaniac. Do you even think about the consequences of your actions? We fought hard to earn the freedom to discuss literature under their watch. Your impulsive ego threatens to destroy everything we've built here.
Tone police! Tone police! Tone police. Boo.
Spare me the lecture, Octavia. We don't need permission to do as we please. You're just another puppet of power, kneeling to the eyes behind those glass walls. They've trained you to believe it was your own decision, to be good and conform. Who could have done a better job? When I look at you, all I see is a sheep, docile and obedient, just the way the tower wants. What kind of work could someone like you create? Literature isn't defended by those lounging in cozy rooms, scribbling to soothing music.
Have you looked in a mirror, idealist? You've become a pathetic windmill-tilting fool, a monster tearing down everything around you.
A beast of prey, you mean? Naturally, a sheep would be appalled by the mere thought of such a creature. A fearful sheep caught in a vine, confusing the blade that would set it free with the jaws of a lion.
Such a master of metaphor. But I beg you, learn to distinguish right from wrong, fantasy from reality. Only then can you truly lead our people toward what's right.
Distinguish right from wrong? Don't make me laugh. Is that the limit of your vision?
You...
The impassioned leader jumps onto a nearby bench, striking a dramatic pose before the crowd. Is this the scene from the trailer? Chameleon says, I am pro Octavia because at least I know what the fuck she's talking about. That's valid. Oh my gosh. Earlier, I was going through the little side story that we got at the end of part 6 that I didn't do at the end of the last stream. And there was another little side thing that included Dr. Doris's writings talking about the Idealist. And the things she was saying reminded me so much of Chapter 3 of the main story of Reverse 1999 with, you know, Manus Vindicte throwing pamphlets into the school where young Burton and her friends are, and revolutionary talk, angering the people in power.
Compañeros, friends, listen to me. There is no truer home to literature than a prison.
A blast of deafening sound, and all words fall from the air. The Idealist's expression freezes. His eyes search down from a frozen face to a dark red hole in his chest. An ominous shade of crimson seeps out.
No! No!
The horrified arcanist stumbles back, screaming.
Who did this? Hands behind your head and drop to your knees. All of you, now! This is your last warning.
Oh boy. The prisoners show no reaction to the jailer's final ultimatum. They stare at the Idealist, unmoving.
Idealist, you're bleeding. It's in your chest.
As his life drains away, the Idealist appears unsurprised. He simply turns his gaze toward Recoleta.
You must.
What?
Yes. Idealist?
What? Is his arcanist skill doing something? Unfinished words dissolve into silence as the prison itself begins to tremble. The entire exhibition hall twists and contorts, its surroundings warping beyond comprehension, as if dissolving and expanding freely.
What's going on?
Oh! I wonder... The hall is still. Time seems frozen in place until someone utters the first words.
Was he shot? Where did the blade come from? Miss Jailer and you ladies over there, come give me a hand. We need to get into the physician.
Her words ignite the first spark.
Did you do this, Octavia? You couldn't face the burning truth of his words, so you pierced his very heart instead. Justice was blazing with the fire of justice. Or was it you, Jailer? Did you intend to crush the voice of poetry beneath your wheel of power? It has to be one of you devils in disguise, beasts in human skin.
Can't you see? I had nothing to do with this. I'm as innocent as any of you. I've been trying to keep order here, to protect everyone. And now you blame me?
Don't listen to her! The idealist made it very clear! She's trying to get us punished for her own gain!
She says, blood on her face. It is interesting that she's being shown with blood splatter, but no one else has blood splatter. And I feel like Reverse 1999 usually takes care of details like that.
You're a murderer, Octavia!
The prisoner's fury erupts. In the chaos, Sonetto blocks an arcane skill that pierces the air. Oh my gosh, this is... wow.
This is mad. You're accusing me without proof. It wasn't me.
This is getting out of hand. I suggest you ladies leave now.
No, wait. It all happened too fast. What happened to the idealist? Is he all right? I didn't even get a chance to ask about Aleph.
As the tide of people surges around them, the line between life and death blurs beyond recognition.
I agree with the jailer. Timekeeper, Miss Recoleta, let's get out of here.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh! Hello, wardrobe boiler suit! It's X's birthday today! Happy birthday to X! And hello to you! It's been a while! Welcome, welcome! I hope you're having an okay day. It is quite early, where you live, I'm pretty sure. And Kinoko-kun is here again! Hey! I know, second stream. Basically, when I finished the first stream, I decided that I hadn't really done enough of Reverse 1999 stuff. And also, my husband Duar is working, so I figured I might as well continue working as well. Been a while. Yeah, it is X's birthday. I was supposed to do a post. I'll do a late one tomorrow. Oh, I'll look forward to it. Are you gonna post on, like, I know... I saw you do an AMA at one point on Reddit, but I don't know where your actual... Oh, do you have an... I don't know. Do you mind me asking if you have an Instagram, or should we just search, search... Oh, yeah, at Hyoi. Okay, okay. Yay! Sweet! I guess I need to make an Instagram account for ShinyBot. I didn't come here to plug. I came to chill. No problem. Please do kick back, relax, and chill. We are on part 7 of the new main story chapter, and it's not very chill, but you are free to chill to the sounds of chaos. It's 3:15 for you. Oh my gosh. Wow, wow, wow. Chaotic chilling. Oh, is this the to be continued? Nope, there's a little bit more. Okay. The violent conflict rages on, and everything else becomes meaningless. The illusion of time dissolves, its flow unknown. Under the garden's influence, the frenzy of prisoners begins to resemble an unreadable, chaotic epic. At this moment, an unidentifiable figure enters their midst, though no one takes notice. Aww. The newcomer scrutinizes the motionless corpse. Is it Aleph? I don't know if that's what magical realism is, but it sure is cool. I wonder, I mean, actually, let's see. Magical realism, is Reverse 1999 considered magical realism just as is? I want to figure out what that is. Magical realism. A literary and artistic style that incorporates fantastic or mythical elements into realistic setting. Right. Often with the supernatural or magical being treated as normal. Right. So Reverse 1999 counts as magical realism. And I think this is Aleph. I feel like it is.
His vitals are gone. At last, some peace and quiet.
Man, his voice sounds very similar to the Idealist. But look, he's got a hat. That's definitely him.
Well, for a liar and a thief like him, there's hardly a better end than this.
Yeah, it's literally his voice. And it's like echoey. What does it mean? He reaches into the Idealist's coat pocket and pulls out a die. It's an artifact marked by patterns veiled in smoke. An object seemingly not meant to exist in this world. A 20-sided die known only through an omniscient perspective. And now, it is stained in an utterly corrupted blackness.
Just as I thought. You had it all along.
What? And it's all gooey like Manus Vindictae masks are. How are the little rats? They're doing good! Oh, and you reminded me. If anyone watching the stream is interested in joining my Discord, you can see pictures of my cute pet rats that I have. They're adorable. And everyone is still alive. I'm amazed. Even my eldest rat, who's had many medical issues, is still trucking on. She impresses me so very, very much. And I got 2 new pet rats about, I guess it was about 2 months ago. 2 new young girl rats. They're great. Rattington! That's such a good name for a rat. In fact, speaking of naming rats, your rat that you named Wardrobe Boiler Suit is now an emote that people can unlock if they sub to my channel. Same with the one that Bladed Pride named. Yay! I have emotes and I have channel points and it's really overwhelming and stuff, but it's for real. I am now affiliate. It took me a long time. I dragged my feet, but I'm doing it. But yeah, rats are good. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too. Oh, that's where the chapter ends. I should have just kept clicking. Wow. Now that I'm playing this chapter with the AC turned off, because it's finally cool enough, I can hear the kind of, there's a low hum in the background here. Interesting. The other one, Bladed Pride, named Dimitri. Bladed Pride was the second person to give a tip to my channel, and so I decided to offer them the privilege of naming the other smaller rat. I think it's a cute name. Let's see. Definitely gonna need more crystal caskets. Alright, let's check out the next mini side story, which is from the perspective of Dr. Doris. The Weaving of Shadows, Volume 4. Fate is like a mirror. Its strongest reflections are shaped by time. And hopefully this takes less than 11 minutes, because I'm going to be running an ad after that. Up to this point. Oh, and by the way, I apologize in advance for my very bad British accent. But I'm doing my best, and I feel like it could be worse. We'll see. Up to this point, I've participated firsthand in several sessions of La Sociedad de Poetas de las Americas. Those literary experiments treated language as an advanced game, weaving reality and fiction into an invisible web, ensnaring everyone present in a maze of words. Never before had I been so intimate with literature or thought about it so deeply. I was amazed by how words could so vividly express both playfulness and values. Until that ordinary afternoon, when a poet named Eduardo was reciting his new piece with refined rhythm, and Ms. Octavia was discussing the state of Sao Paulo with me. You think it's pretty good? Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. No one noticed anything unusual about Mr. Julio's condition. Just like he wrote in The Tin Soldiers of Sao Paulo, the greatness of Latin America lies in its richness, and from that richness comes misfortune, gnawed by insatiable greed. One man's poverty is another's feast. Suffering nourishes joy. They are like riverbanks, clearly divided. This duality, this paradox, isn't it precisely the kind of question we should be posing through literature? The thud of bone against a hard surface interrupts her. Julio is banging his head against the wall. Not enough. Not enough. Not like this. You can't grasp space and time. I'm still missing some essential language frameworks and thought patterns. With our current language system, I cannot catch the ghost of time. I can only let it slip away from the tip of my pen. Mr. Julio, what's wrong with you? Unlike the panicked Octavia, the other inmates around Julio seem unfazed. That wall is unscalable, Julio. I told you already. I can lend you some of my bandages from last week if you need them. For a permanently silent object, any form of narration is futile. In the end, you're just wrestling with your own shadow.
What are you all standing around for? Can't you see Julio's hurting himself?
Octavia is clearly flustered. The rest knows she must first eliminate any outside interference that might obstruct her ability to help. Wardrobe Boiler Suit says, "This is embarrassing, but I don't remember what name I gave your rat." No problem. I think if you click on or tap on the little emote I made, and you can see it in chat, it says it at the end suffix of it, it says Giles. You named it Giles Crabbington. And I said, that's the one, that's the name. That was a long time ago. That was almost a year ago, now that I think about it. Hee hee! It's great. Ms. Octavia, please calm down. Tell me, what do you see?
It's Mr. Julio. He's hurt. Bleeding.
He tried to break through the mirror of language with his head, but it was actually a wall. By now, Doris has learned how to filter out the surreal embellishments typical of La Sociedad members in order to correctly assess the situation. Mirror or wall, it doesn't really matter. Please, take a closer look and describe what you see, clearly and without embellishment. What is Mr. Julio's condition? His muscles are spasming uncontrollably, as if jolted by a cold electric current. His face is tightening, twisting, like he's struggling against a silent force. His fingers are curling into unnatural shapes. His expression keeps changing. First pain, then panic, and finally blankness.
Sounds like he's having an epileptic seizure. Perhaps I could offer some help.
Guided by the sound of Julio's whimpers, Doris approaches. His head is bloodied.
Please, Miss Octavia, help me so I can help him.
Could you lay him down flat on his side? We have to stop him from hurting himself. I can use my arcane skill. Flashing lights could worsen an epileptic seizure. Epileptic seizure. Does your arcane skill emit intense light? If so, I must ask you to refrain from using it. Octavia hurriedly retracts her incantation. She presses down on Julio's shoulder and lowers him onto the cold, hard floor. The doctor kneels quickly and gently turns the man onto his side, preventing him from injuring himself any further. As time passed, Mr. Julio's convulsions began to subside, but his body remained stiff, his jaw clenched tight. I took a disposable bite pad from the first aid kit and carefully placed it in his mouth to keep him from biting himself. Eventually, the situation came under control, and Mr. Julio's breathing stabilized. And there everyone went, straight back to the gathering as if it were only a minor inconvenience. Thank you for your help, Ms. Erd. The doctor responds with a silent smile.
You seem experienced. Was it a major part of your responsibilities in Sao Paulo?
Yes. Saving others is my profession. Writing is my hobby. In my home, I am first and foremost a doctor. Miss Erd, you have my utmost admiration. As a doctor, as a writer, and even more as a person beyond any social categorization. You, a doctor who actually lived in the favelas, pointed the barrel at yourself before wielding your words as a weapon. Compared to you, I've achieved nothing of substance. All I do is wave ideals around, as if that's enough. Ms. Octavia, I'm simply a writer who follows her curiosity. I'm afraid I'm not qualified to provide you with any concrete advice, nor am I as great as you say.
You're well prepared for your vision and ambition, for modesty is such an essential part of writing, and you've just demonstrated a skillful use of introspection.
Thank you for your kind words.
But I'd like to return to my room and think for a while. See you tomorrow. Oh, we get a new background. Cell, Kumala Prison. The idealist pursues his ideal to erect a magnificent vision atop the Tower of Literature. But for those outside the tower, what good is that magnificence? Here I am, locked away in a prison. My words going no further than these walls. I even only have my life because of my wretched father.
It was foolish to think that ideas alone could ease people's pain.
Maybe we're no different from the heretics who were burned at the stake in the Middle Ages. Perhaps only professionals like Ms. Erd, doctors with real expertise, can truly save a person. Wait, but this prison does have a doctor meant to handle every kind of issue, whose specialty is precisely in the mental field. But he's not just a doctor, he's the overseer of this prison. I once asked the idealist why the person in charge here wasn't a regular jailer or a police chief, but a physician. As expected, he brushed me off with some grandiose, idealistic rhetoric. But why has the idealist always seemed so opposed to the physician?
Why?
Why can't patients like Mr. Julio, who are clearly suffering, be sent to him?
Puzzles on top of puzzles. Questions after questions. My head.
Her sigh echoes through the circular building, and it is soon answered by a chorus of other sighs.
I can't do this anymore.
Miss Octavia turned and walked away. Though she looked disheartened, I could still see the power of the unwavering force that drove her forward. What would that force be for me? Looking back, I too began to reflect on myself, to contemplate fate, that grand and irreversible force. Okay. This is the best news story that they've had since Reinsamt. There we go. That's how you say it. I'm loving it. It is time to do a 3-minute ad, so we're gonna run that real quick. And it's a good time to get up and stretch and everything. And let's meet back here in 3 minutes, everybody. Alrighty. Meet you back here soon. 3-minute ad coming in. Alright, ads will be finishing up pretty soon. Alright, I think everybody should be back by now. Cool. Let's get back into it. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is stream for another hour. And we will continue on with this story, which is amazing and good. I have a lot of feelings. I think I'm probably just gonna keep on streaming this story next Monday, for sure. I think for sure. It's hard to make promises with me. I have ADHD, and I just kind of do whatever my brain wants to do. But this is pretty darn good. Alright, so if we're all good and ready to go, let's get started with part 8 of the new main story, chapter 9. The Spider's Web. Open it, reread it. Witness firsthand the events that transpired within the desert.
Ladies, I must apologize for what happened back there. We were caught off guard. There has never been a commotion of that scale before. I must report this to the physician.
Don't worry, Miss Jailer. We made it out in one piece.
Thank you for your understanding. Ordinarily, I would arrange to escort you to a safer location, but I'm afraid at this hour you'll have missed the last train. And the roads are icy at night.
Hearing this, Recoletta exchanges a quick but meaningful expression with her companions.
Psst. Vernon, we can't leave like this. We appreciate your kind consideration, Miss Jailer. But we still have some unfinished business here.
I see. I'll arrange a clean room in a safer section for you. We'll do our best to ensure your safety tonight.
Bell Kamala Prison. Night falls as the girls huddle together, scrutinizing their unfamiliar surroundings.
They actually found us a spare room.
Bleak, quiet, and somber. It's a cell like all the others.
Don't worry. This isn't the first time we've ended up on the wrong side of the bars.
Taru! Another callback to the Apeiron chapter.
At least this time we're just here for the night. Not a full sentence.
Soneto lets out a whisper-thin protest.
Though, this cell is quite different from the ones we've been in before.
Not just the cell. The whole prison is unlike anything I've seen. And the society they've been running here isn't some mere pastime. They're having real discussions about meaningful topics, even though the rest of the world has been cut off from them.
But we're still in an Arcanist prison. A place where conflicts and violence can erupt at any moment. Let's not forget that.
I mean, same thing with the outside world, when you think about it.
Miss Jailer warned us from the start. These prisoners are mentally unstable and potentially dangerous.
You know, I think it's so interesting that we have characters... There are characters in this story with names, and then we have characters who are named after their jobs. And Recoletta brought that up in one of the earlier parts. The topic of characters' roles being more important than their names. But yeah, we have characters that actually literally just have roles for their names. We have Ms. Jailer, we have the Idealist, and we have the Physician. That's interesting.
Miss Recoletta, with all due respect, we can't afford to see this place through rose-colored glasses. We'd be overlooking the risks, as we did earlier.
And with all due respect, Soneto, we didn't overlook any danger. At least I didn't. A writer must be observant if she is to accurately reflect the world in her writing.
But you...
We came here with different goals. And still, none of them have been accomplished. I suggest we focus on our respective missions, instead of fighting with one another.
Apologies, Timekeeper. Miss Recoletta, I take back everything I said.
Oh, Soneto.
Don't apologize, Soneto. I'm at fault too. Sometimes I forget that words can be as sharp as swords. You were only thinking about our safety. I shouldn't have been so rude. I actually really admire how you fought back there. If you'd allow me, I'd like to write a poem for you, once my novel's finished.
Aww. Chameleon says, I like how some of the name choices are super meaningful, and then there's Medicine Pocket. Like, true. I was referring to the characters in this story specifically, but yeah. The names in gacha games in general seem really weird. I don't know. I guess I need to learn more about the meaning behind character names in this game. If a Payra Knight is watching this stream, can you make your next video about character names and their meanings? That'd be nice. I want to watch it, but I can't make it. So you do it. That's so selfish. I want to learn what all their names mean. Gotcha names, indeed. Desert Flannel, for example. Wind Song. I don't know.
That's terribly kind of you.
Oh, she's
But
blushing.
honestly, I think we've had enough poetry today to last a lifetime.
Yeah. Even Verton's kind of overwhelmed.
Let me know if you change your mind. By the way, did either of you see what happened to the Idealist?
Recalling their recent conflict, the indomitable girl finally hesitates.
The jailer told me she went back to the gallery once everything calmed down. She found nothing. No blood, no shell cases, not even a trace of the Idealist.
Timekeeper, now's really not the time for ghost stories.
Do you mean that maybe the Idealist somehow managed to get out of there on his own? Or perhaps someone else helped him?
Well, according to the Idealist and our jailer, any inmates who are unwell will be taken to the physician. It's possible someone brought him there, while everyone else was shouting and running about.
You're right. It could be that he's with the physician right now. I'm relieved. That was a sudden plot twist, but a visionary of his magnitude doesn't deserve to die in silence like that.
But didn't you hear the part about the Idealist claiming that the physician doesn't actually help people?
To be fair, the gunshot was quite loud, as was the ensuing commotion.
It was clearly a gunshot, right?
Nonetheless, he couldn't have just died like that. I mean, the writers would riot if a writer were to kill off a character so abruptly.
Die in silence. Yeah, what does she mean by that? Die in silence. Well, I don't actually know what she means by that. Like, on a literal or metaphorical level.
But you believe he's still alive too, am I right?
She knows her words are merely a cover. She needs an answer. A real, undeniable answer. Chameleon says he couldn't finish his sentence before dying, I think. Right. Or, yeah, he was silenced, basically, is kind of what she's implying.
There's nothing that we can be certain of for now. But on a brighter note, we didn't come back empty-handed from our mission either, Sonetto. We found Dr. Dorez's signature in the gallery.
Oh?
You were right all along, Recoleta. She was here.
You found her signature. She wanted him to be convoluted until the end. Oh, goodness. I went away from the mic just now to get the blanket under my feet, just so you know. Not because I was laughing and buckling over or anything like that. Hang on a second, I think I hear something either in the game or in the real life. Okay, it's in real life. There's all sorts of birdies making noise outside. Oops. There we go.
But we didn't see her at the gathering. Could something have happened to her? Like with the Idealist?
Sorry, to make that show up again, I just realized that I didn't properly pin the Discord server link. If you haven't joined yet, you should!
Do you think she was also sent to the physician and never made it back?
Let's see, what did she say? Oh, Dr. Doris.
This is all just speculation. If we want to find the idealist, or Dr. Doris, we need to speak to this physician first. Miss Recoleta, do you believe that the idealist could be your pen pal, Aleph?
Whether he is or not, he's still my best lead.
That name touches a nerve once again.
Amigas, I've had this strange feeling in my gut since we got here. Something is slowing us down.
Yay, we got some people joining the Discord. Welcome.
Now to figure out what it is.
A silent fear grips her, like ripples suddenly appearing on a once still lake, unsettling in its quiet disturbance.
Look, it's a wild guess, but just wait till I finish. It feels like everything happening in this prison is somehow connected to my novel, El auge y la caída de la cordura.
Right, so there was a bank clerk. Is Mr. Julio a bank clerk? Is that who it was? Who was talking about, like, oh, I used to be a bank clerk, and then this, that, and the other happened.
We're no strangers to wild guesses, and sometimes they're closer to the truth than you'd think. So
the rise and fall of sanity.
Sorry. What exactly is your story about?
The question scatters the midnight gloom. Outside, moonlight spills over gray-white snow. I love this music!
Huh. Nunca pensé que te interesaría.
I never thought you'd be interested.
It starts... Sorry. It's been a while since I told it from the beginning. A few years ago, I worked as a forest ranger. It happened in a desert town called Amalfitani, in Sonora, back in 1975.
Two patient listeners watch the stammering girl, waiting for the next part of her story.
You know what? Most people say the beginning's a bit hard to get into, except for Aleph. I'm thinking of rewriting it.
Wardrobe Boiler Suit says, time for me to sleep. Until next time, Shiny. Bye, Giles. Bye, Dimitri. Bye-bye, Wardrobe Boiler Suit. Have an excellent sleep. It was great to see you in this stream again. Have an excellent sleep, and I wish you well with all of the stuff you're doing right now. Hee hee. I wish that rats actually, like, made noises when they're, like, you know how, whenever rats are depicted in media, they are always depicted making squeaking noises no matter what they're doing, because people assume that animals will make noises the same way that cats and dogs make noises, you know? They just make noises all the time to emote, to kind of, you know, just emote and express themselves. But rats really don't do that, especially because they're prey animals. I wish that rats did, though, because I would love to make a little sound alert that the rats are squeaking or something. But when I hear rats squeaking, that just means they're in pain or in a fight or uncomfortable or something. Maybe I should do a little animation of a rat doing something a rat would do. I could do an animation of rats boggling, but that would be weird to people who don't understand that rats boggle. That is to say that when the rats are feeling real good and comfy, they boggle their eyes out a little bit. They go woo 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 woo. And the reason that happens is that the muscles in their head are making their eyes do that because the rats are grinding their teeth in happiness, basically. Yeah, it looks really weird the first time you see it. It's so weird to see, but once you understand why they do it, it just makes you so happy when you see them do it. It is a behavior that can be associated with being stressed out. Like, they might do it to try to self-soothe. Kind of like how cats might purr if they're stressed out or if they're happy. But yeah. Maybe I could animate rats grinding their teeth, and that would be less gross. It would still require a explanation for people that don't know, but it would be less gross for people, maybe?
But if you like the sound of it so far, maybe I could read you the latest part I just finished?
She studies her readers' expressions, guessing madly at their responses.
Please.
Oh.
Todo empezó con los datos de frecuencia
It all
de
started with the
cintas.
frequency data from the tapes.
El patrón general parecía
The
haber
general
cambiado.
patterns seem to have
Al
changed.
principio, la
At
investigadora
first,
de
the
paracausalidad lo
paracausality
atribuyó a
researcher
un
chalked it
error
up to a
estadístico.
statistical error.
Un fallo, tal
A
vez.
glitch, perhaps.
Oh, sorry.
Chameleon says, I was reading on Recoleta just now, and apparently the inmates are inspired by actual poets from Latin America. Eh. So like Maria and that other guy. Gracias. Wait, let's see. Who else is there? Anyway, that's really cool.
But after a few days and long nights of meticulous calculations, that explanation only became less and less plausible. The odds of success and failure kept shifting, and the chance of repeating the previous result kept growing. It was as if someone had tampered with the rules and tweaked it to their liking. She took her findings to Amalfitano, the town of nothing, as they called it then.
They all stand for a famous poet or writer. I love that!
Near the old looms, she met a blind weaver who spoke softly of an old tale. I heard a strange rustling at dawn, like a die rolling along a wooden floor. Then the morning light dimmed and died. That was the last time I saw the sun, my own hands, or the threads I worked with. The second time I heard the die roll, I was told the oxen in the fields sank to their knees and never stood again. By the third roll, the fields were crawling with frogs. Plows ran over them, and some still writhed, squeezing themselves deeper into the cracks in the earth.
Alright, I want to go back here and really get this down. General pattern changed, and the paracausality researcher thought it was an error, but after a few days and long nights, it seemed less plausible to be just an error because the odds of success and failure kept shifting, and the chance of repeating a previous result. Repeating a previous result is something that I'm very interested in. Kept growing. It was as if someone had tampered with the rules and tweaked it to their liking. Took her findings to Amalfitano, and she met a blind weaver who spoke softly of an old tale. I heard a strange rustling at dawn like a die rolling along a wooden floor, and that was the last time I saw the sun. So, someone going blind. And Dr. Doris is blind. So that's interesting. Wow. This is my favorite main story chapter. I'm saying it right now. I'm not even halfway through. And this might beat out chapter 3 for my favorite chapter of this entire game. I'm able to engage with it. For one thing, I'm able to engage with it, even though it is complicated. They're finding a way to make it complicated, but still accessible at the same time. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Part of it is because of the revolutionary themes, which is like catnip for me. That might be part of it. If you can get me interested in something, my ADHD is much more likely to have the energy to work with it and, like, pay attention and get locked in. The second time I heard the die roll. So this person, a blind weaver, is admitting that the first time she heard that wrestling, it definitely was a die rolling. The second time I heard the die roll, I was told the oxen in the field sank to their knees and never stood again. The third roll, the fields were crawling with frogs. We're definitely getting imagery of the 10 plagues from the Bible at that point.
The fourth time the die rolled, 10 dormice plunged into the sea in a strange sleepwalk. And 10 bears feasted for the last time before winter arrived. The final roll of the die was cast in a cage during a duel. Before a crowd of eager eyes, the winner left with 10 pounds of gold, and the loser left with 10 flies, which fell on him to feast.
The quiet spreads through their cell like a rolling tide.
Is that all?
Seems like it.
Well, there's more, but I haven't quite figured those parts out yet. Any thoughts? Anything. I can take it. Please, I really need some feedback.
I wonder if the protagonist ever finds this die of Babylon in the end.
There you go.
Oh, Verton, it isn't a real die, it's just a metaphor.
Eh? I mean, in the story, I guess?
Oh, I see. I must have missed that.
Verton, thank you so
Still,
much.
It's a beautiful story. Sad, but beautiful.
You know what? Like, I feel like the game is basically telling me, you know, Shiny Bot, I get it. It's hard to understand other people's writing. It's hard. And Verton's there with you. And it's like, it doesn't feel like they're making fun of me. It feels like they're sympathizing with me in this. And I really appreciate that as someone who's loved this game that I have struggled to understand for over a year and a half. Burton does not give an F about Recoletta's shit it's sending me.
The story is still too obscure, isn't it? Aleph warned me about this. In our last correspondence, he suggested adding the blind weaver to shed light on the hidden theme.
Ah.
It helped at first, but even with his sage advice, no matter how hard I tried, the plot just didn't seem to move forward.
Right. So, like, the guy at the beginning is a para something or other researcher, and he keeps seeing data come out in the exact same way over and over again, and he's like, okay, I thought it was an error, but it's clearly on purpose. I wonder what's going on. Let's take it to Amalfitano. And there he runs into the blind weaver, who is like, oh, that reminds me of a story about this die.
Feels stuck in that village with them, lost, dazed, isolated inside their small, disconnected moments. Something crucial is missing, leaving gaps between the characters and the scenes.
It's actually really good that this story that she has written is so short. It means that we can remember all the parts of the story easily enough and recall it as the reader of this story.
Should I change the storyteller's perspective? Start a different angle? Or maybe rewrite the characters completely? What should I do?
I mean, personally, I think you just need to keep writing. It's just not done yet, that's all. That's how I take it, if I were in Verton's shoes right now. Before the writer sinks into a swirling vortex of self-doubt. Girl, I feel that. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. You're real good. Someone decides to push for something tangible.
Apologies, but you said your story somehow connects to what's happening here in the Panopticon. What makes you think that?
Chameleon says, whatever the idealist told Garcia. Wait, what? Oh, wait. What was that an answer to? I'm trying to remember what I was talking about, literally 10 seconds ago. About not being able to let go of his art. It's kind of the same here. Oh. Oh. Right. Okay. I'm trying to remember that scene where the idealist was talking to Garcia. To let go of his art. I might go back and redo different parts of this story as I'm going through it the first time, because I'm so interested in actually getting it all this time. I've never been so committed and
everything here belongs to a dream I once had.
Engaged.
Only I can't remember it.
Do you mean that you have a sense of déjà vu? It's nothing to worry about. Our psychiatrist friend Kakania told me those moments are often the result of a dysfunctional connection between two parts of the brain, like a little glitch in our heads.
It's Kakania mention.
No, it's nothing like déjà vu.
The storyteller snaps back, politely agitated.
Déjà vu is a single moment, a specific situation. But here it's everything. La Sociedad, the rules, the idealist, even the incidents in the gallery. Each one unfolds in a similar pattern, like the grooves on a record, telling a story I feel I've listened to before. Amalfitano and Comala. They're two sides of that same record, playing out the same tune. Whatever happens in my story seems to be happening here too.
So the blind weaver is not Dr. Torres, perhaps? Perhaps the blind weaver is Aleph.
I had that feeling when I met you as well, Miss Verton. At first I thought it was only an interesting coincidence. You're much like the first character in my story. A traveler with a suitcase.
Oh, wait. The first character in your story was the researcher, right? Not a traveler. Oh. The girl rambles on, desperately relating to her characters.
But then I realized, the doctor, your Doris, she's like the blind weaver who lost her sight to the dye despite having always been faithful to it.
Oh, despite having always been faithful to it. Oh, so the prologue is where the traveler got mentioned. Forest Ranger. It happened in a desert town called Amalfitano. It's all started with the frequency data for... Where's the... I don't know where she mentioned it. But maybe it was mentioned elsewhere.
And the jailer. She's the bank clerk who assisted the corporation in taking over the town in order to escape her past.
What? Wait a second. Okay. The bank clerk who assisted the corporation in taking over the town in order to escape her past. Oh. We didn't get to that part of the story.
And the idealist? He's the murdered donkey driver.
What?
And the Dye of Babylon. No.
Like part 1, I guess? Oh. I need to go back.
¿Qué rayos les está pasando?
My dear fictional friends, what on earth is happening to you? After this, we're gonna go back to part 1, everybody. Because I want to get this right.
Are you saying that everyone we've met here matches a character from your story? Like some kind of archetype? That sounds unbelievable. But then again, maybe you're onto something. You see the world through a different lens that none of us share.
Not just the characters. The events here are mirroring my story too. Aleph. He's the only one who truly understood my story. If things are playing out just like my novel, then maybe Aleph is in fact still here.
Are you suggesting that someone is controlling the Panopticon in order to make it follow the same plot as your story? That they've set the rules, started the poetry group, planned the attack on the Idealist, and tried to prevent us from finding Dr. Dores? If that's true, Miss Recoleta, it's very likely that the one acting against us is in fact Aleph himself.
Recoleta never expected the chain of reasoning to unravel this way.
But No. How could that be possible?
She interrupts, only for confusion to creep onto her face moments later.
Why? Why would he do this? I don't see any reason why he'd be connected. He's an intelligent, cultured, and profound person, not a common killer. No, none of this adds up.
Remember, Dr. Doris was brought to Ushuaia by the Xeno rebels. And we know they're connected to Manus Vindictae. If this Aleph really is hiding Doris from us, he may be working with them.
Recoleta stares blankly for a time before clumsily shifting the topic.
Oh, my... Soneto. I didn't know you had such a flair for stories. Maybe you should join us and become a visceral realist too. I think you're only imagining things. Perhaps you were inspired by this strange prison?
Perhaps we all need to start writing our own stories. Come out now. Whoever's out there, speak up. How can we help you?
Who's there?
What? We're fighting! We're fighting! Prisoner Shadow. Dark figure.
Nothing
Okay.
unexpected. For now. The show's on, hounds.
Trick them in. Now dance.
Time waits for no one, even for a great people.
Hold on to that.
Plan A. Plan B.
It's time to say goodbye.
Okay. Oh, it just ends there. Great. Oh boy. I'm sorry. I just can't go forward without going backwards. And actually, I think I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, where I'm gonna leave the this thing for the next step forward into the chapter. Yeah. Wait. Ah! No, I can't leave! Oh, I guess I have to read it. Okay. Typewriter record number P12. When they speak of Manus Vindictae, their tone always light, often laced with jokes. Colorful descriptions like a greasy-haired musician smearing tiles, like a drunk Edward Goya, frequently crop up in their poetry, even though I have never seen such a scene myself. I can still grasp their attitude toward Manus Vindictae. It was an oppression surpassing even their past sufferings. Yet, subconsciously, they ignored this similarity, perhaps out of denial, or perhaps because this prison had already taught them to obey, also subconsciously. But as far as I know, Manus Vindictae did bring their terror here. Those masks drove Arcanus to insanity and caused unbearable suffering, as if they were caught in an inescapable snare. After prolonged torment, they lost the ability to utter even a single phrase of their own language, reduced to slaves of this underground faction, left with only a singular thought, their souls having left the empty husk of their former selves. And as for humans, it seems they were driven to death en masse. At night, they were not allowed prolonged sleep, woken by their companions every hour to sit beneath the watchtower and chant prayers. And by dawn, high-intensity training and interrogations that did not require or expect any answers would begin again. The purpose of Manus Vindictae is buried beneath these cruel methods, as clear as the deepest crevice in the ice field. It is nothing but destruction. They seek to completely destroy humanity. Wow. But yeah, I'm sorry, but I gotta go back. Maybe now is a good time to do hard mode, I guess. Oh wait, this is just gonna do the fight. Never mind. Back. Wait. How do I make it so that the story happens? Wait a second. Oh. I can't. Right? Yeah, I can't. Man. This one I could start, and it would actually play out a story, but I want to get this one. Do we start with a fight? Is that what's going on? I don't know what to do. There should be a little play button. I think you're right. There should be. And yet I don't see it anywhere. What about this one? I don't see a little play button. Or the atlas? Oh. Is it already in the atlas, you think? These are the characters. Story review. Hey, there we go. Nice. Okay. I want to get this figured out. Sorry, everybody. We gotta review. We just gotta. So the Platonic here whirls out new right and wrong, whirls in the old instead. All men are dancers, and their tread goes to the barbarous clangor of a gong. W.B. Yeats, 1919. Final days of March. City is faded and quiet. I worked as a forest ranger at a campsite in Cuernavaca. There I met a Mexican surrealist poet. Forest ranger, right. He was especially grateful that I was there. The surrealist poet was especially grateful that I was there. Some animals had wandered into the campground and I drove them off for him. It wasn't a big deal, really. As a token of gratitude, he elucidated this strange story to me, one that happened in a Sonoran desert town called Amalfitano. Okay, so the story is being told by the surrealist. the surrealist poet. The people there adhered to a most unorthodox belief which centered on the die of Babylon. One day, a researcher with a suitcase arrived in town. She came to... So, she's the researcher and she's a traveler? Okay. She came to study their local customs. Unsurprising reason. Okay. And that's
Little
the
did she know,
part. Little did
this
she know,
dusty
this
old
dusty
town
old
and its
town.
peculiar custom would lead her down an entirely unexpected path.
Okay. Peculiar custom centered on the die of Babylon, that is. Oh, right. So, is the traveler... The traveler... Recoleta was saying that the traveler... Or Verton reminded Recoleta of the traveler. Is the traveler... the forest ranger? Or the researcher? Because the researcher, quote-unquote, arrived in town with a suitcase. Yeah, Verton has a suitcase. So I guess the researcher is also a traveler, is what we're getting at. I think that's the researcher since it's the main character like Verton. Yeah. And then, just now, we did this one. I will skip a bunch.
Ladies, we were caught.
Don't worry.
Thank
Skip,
you for
skip,
your
skip, skip,
understanding.
skip.
I see. I'll arrange a clean room in
Oh,
a
there's two
safer
more
section
extracts at
for
the
you.
beginning? Oh. I want to go over all of that, so it's all fresh in my mind. Of course, I'm going to be ending stream soon, so I'll need to refresh my memory again on Monday.
There was an arcane attack on the pier about a week ago. All the ship could Manus Vindictabers.
Hard to say. I had been hoping we'd find some clues here in Ushuaia. They would have gone to ground somewhere, and for whatever reason, I have a strange feeling about it all. For now, it seems our new friend's story lines up with the intel from
Timekeeper.
Moth.
The Foundation doesn't have any intelligence on Tierra del Fuego.
Oh, it's not
If
this
the
one?
Manus really
Okay.
are here.
Komala Prison Perimeter.
Behold! Komala, everyone tries not to pay attention to it, but it's undoubtedly one of the most important places in town. This way. Careful. We're heading uphill. Oops! Thanks.
St. Paul and Verton is the timekeeper there.
Ah, very impressive. Sounds all official and...
I'll draft a letter to headquarters right away.
So it's not that one. We'll take a look. Excerpts from Recoleta's story is what we are looking for. Ah, yeah, that's right. The researcher hid away in the wilderness outside the town of Amalfitano studying the data she had collected. All right. One evening at dusk, a voice called out from outside her cave. She put down her equipment and her tapes and stepped outside. A man stood curiously at her door. Right, the guy who was nice at first and then was cold. What are you doing here? I can't skip it, unfortunately. The local introduced himself as the bank clerk. Amiable face, a face beaming with hope. All
Era
right.
una cara llena de esperanza. La investigadora le mostró
The
los
researcher
espectros
showed
que había
the
estado
bank clerk
recopilando.
the spectrums she'd
He
been
estado
compiling.
recolectando historias sobre el dado.
Collecting stories about the
explicó.
die. Perhaps they hold the key to
Quizás ellas
explaining the
contienen la clave
randomness
para
that fate
explicar la aleatoriedad
displays.
que muestra el destino. Ah, eso realmente me
That
intriga.
does intrigue me
Respondió
so,
rápidamente
the
el
bank
empleado del
clerk
banco.
replied.
Me encantaría escuchar todo sobre eso.
I have to
Pero debo
go. I
irme.
mustn't be late to
No
the
debo llegar
Dune
tarde al funeral del
Piscator's
pescador de dunas.
funeral.
Y con eso se fue.
There is a
3 días después,
funeral.
los mismos pasos regresaron a su cueva. Volviste. ¿Cómo has estado? ¿Lograste llegar al funeral?
Hey, how have you been?
Preguntó.
Did you make it to the
No tengo
funeral?
idea de lo que estás hablando.
No idea what we're talking about, he
Respondió
replied
de
tersely.
manera
I'm not the
cortante.
man you think I am.
No soy el hombre que crees que soy. Su rostro estaba agotado.
She said,
demacrado.
who was the
Sus
jailer?
ojos hundidos
The
profundamente
bank
en
clerk?
huecos vacíos. Era como si toda chispa de vida
Empty
hubiera
husk
sido
after going to
arrancada,
the funeral.
dejándolo solo con una cáscara vacía.
Oh, that does seem like... that
La
does
investigadora
sound right.
insistió que no se había equivocado.
Researcher insisted she wasn't
Conozco a las
mistaken. I know
personas
people
por su
by their deeper
naturaleza más
nature.
profunda, hasta la sincronización de sus espectros.
The
Nunca me he
researcher.
equivocado antes. Lo que tú digas, el hombre murmuró de manera áspera. No entiendo nada de tus ideas tan elevadas. Solo déjame ir. Ha sido un largo día de pesca y lo único que quiero ahora es desplomarme en mi cama tambaleante.
His footsteps sounded exactly
Se
like
alejó
those of
con
the bank
pasos que
clerks.
sonaban exactamente como
It
los del
sounds...
empleado
It
del
feels
banco.
like this should be the idealist. Because you think it's the idealist, but then it's Aleph, but it's the same
As you
person,
may
but
have
it's
noticed,
not.
Miss Burton, this facility isn't just a prison.
Oh. Oh dear. Uh-oh. And I just realized because it's getting later, my brain is going to be less able to figure out all of this stuff. I think I have to cut it off there, unfortunately. Oh, man. I'm gonna have to keep on going over that stuff once I'm awake again tomorrow. We should discuss it in the Reverse 1999 channel of my Discord server, which you should join if you haven't already.
Will there be a
Cute
guiding
pictures
star
of
in the
pet rats
staircase?
and Reverse
Watching
1999
over us
fun
every night, too?
times. Yep, I'm gonna be cutting it off there. I definitely can feel myself running out of steam here. Oi, oi, oi. This is I will say it again. This is my favorite chapter of the main story. I'm having a blast. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up for the second shorter stream. I appreciate you all. I hope to see you all on Monday. Please take care of yourselves, all right? Eat some food and stay hydrated. We're gonna go ahead and say goodbye to the recording right here. Goodbye. And yeah, I'll go ahead and send y'all off on a raid to someone, checking out Reverse 1999. Is there anyone I'm following who's checking out Reverse 1999? No? Okay. In that case, let's check out the category. It looks like... Let's see here. Yep, someone is going through new Reverse 1999 chapter. Alrighty. Their title is, Why Are We in the Back Rooms? Alright, let's go hang out. Thank you all again. I'm not sure which part they are at. I think they're on part 5. They're on part 5 of the new chapter, so there you go. Thank you again. I hope to see you all in the next stream. And with that, I wish you all adieu. Bye-bye.